When Pope Leo XIV delivered his first major address as the head of the Catholic Church, the world was listening, and many were hoping. He stood beneath the weight of centuries, behind a podium in the Vatican's Apostolic Hall, sunlight flickering through stained glass windows. His face, pale and contemplative, carried the seriousness of a man who knew that each word would echo beyond Rome, into parishes, bedrooms, and family tables across the world. "We must speak the truth in love," he began, his voice solemn. "And the truth, as received in the sacred tradition, is that marriage, as designed by the Creator, is between a man and a woman." He paused, as if choosing the next sentence carefully. "This is not to judge, nor to exclude, but to remain faithful." Applause followed, polite, restrained. But outside the walls of the Vatican, the impact was seismic. In Sao Paulo, a young man named Lucas Andrade stood alone in his seminary dormitory. He had entered the church with the hope that he could serve without hiding. Pope Francis had once said, "Who am I to judge?" That single phrase had kept Lucas going through years of shame and silence. But now, with just a few sentences, Lucas felt the air around him grow heavy again. In his journal, he wrote that night, "He didn't slam the door. But he didn't open it either. And somehow, that hurts more." Thousands of miles north, in a suburb of Warsaw, Jakub Zielinski felt something different. A father of 3 and a lifelong conservative Catholic, he had worried that recent years had softened the church too much. Pope Leo's words reassured him. "He is a true shepherd," Jakub said to his wife over dinner. "Not a politician. He dares to stand firm." In Mexico City, a Catholic LGBTQ support group gathered for what was meant to be a celebration of hope. They had lit candles, prepared music, and printed banners that read, "All are welcome." But by the time they met, the mood had changed. The candles were still lit, but the music was never played. One member, a trans woman named Rosa, looked around the circle and asked, "How long do we keep coming back to a table where we're only tolerated?" In Nairobi, Father Samuel Mbatha had just finished baptizing 3 infants when a parishioner asked him what he thought of the Pope's words. He answered gently, "The Church has spoken. But God's love is not afraid of complexity." The statement earned him whispered disapproval from older members of the parish. But a young couple approached him afterward, quietly thanking him. In New York, Sister Annalise, a nun who had spent 2 decades working with homeless LGBTQ youth, was not surprised by the Pope's stance, but she was still saddened. "He speaks of truth as if it were a sword," she said. "But sometimes truth is a bandage. And sometimes, love means putting the sword down." Debates raged on news channels and Catholic radio stations. Social media exploded. Some praised the Pope for restoring clarity. Others accused him of abandoning compassion. A well-known Catholic journalist tweeted, "Francis opened the windows. Leo is drawing the curtains." Across the ocean, in Lagos, Nigeria, the Bishop of Enugu publicly praised the Pope's courage to resist secular infiltration. In the same city, a young queer Catholic, Chinelo, was beaten by police during an underground Pride prayer vigil. Before she was taken into custody, she managed to send a final message to a friend. "Tell my mother I still believe in God. I'm just not sure he believes in me." In Germany, nearly 150 priests signed a collective letter expressing disappointment. The letter read, "If the Church cannot bless those who love, what is it blessing?" And in Rome, at the Pontifical Gregorian University, theology students argued late into the night. Some defended the Pope's commitment to orthodoxy. Others saw it as a strategic retreat from progress. No consensus was reached, only exhaustion. In the middle of all this, a theology student named Elena Russo wrote a personal letter to the Pope. "I'm bisexual," she wrote. "I take the Eucharist every week. I visit the elderly. I pray the Rosary. If I am to be turned away, I need you to look me in the eyes and do it yourself." She delivered it to a Swiss guard outside the Apostolic Palace. She didn't know if it would ever reach him, but she hoped he would read it. 10 days passed without a follow-up from the Vatican. No clarifications. No adjustments. Just silence. Then, quietly, stories began to spread. In Buenos Aires, a priest blessed a gay couple in a private ceremony, with no fanfare. In Manila, a bishop launched an anonymous listening campaign among queer Catholics. In Boston, a young deacon came out publicly and was dismissed. In London, Owen Jones, a well-known columnist and gay Catholic, published a searing editorial titled, "Still Unwelcome in My Father's House." In it he wrote, "You cannot ask us to believe in mercy while defining our lives as disordered. You cannot call us brothers while setting fire to the bridge." As time passed, the storm did not die down, it changed shape. Catholic LGBTQ groups began organizing Stations of Grief, a meditative ritual where participants walked through symbolic scenes of rejection and resilience. In one such gathering in Spain, an elderly nun wept as she whispered, "I served the church for 40 years. It never asked who I loved until it wanted to punish me." Back in the Vatican, Pope Leo remained mostly quiet. He met with bishops. He prayed. He wrote. Insiders said he was drafting a deeper doctrinal statement, perhaps one to reconcile tradition and pastoral care. But the people outside no longer waited for Rome. They met in living rooms, in parish basements, in borrowed cathedrals. They lit candles. They prayed their own prayers. They stayed Catholic, but not always visible. A new slogan appeared, not on banners, but in conversations. "We are still here." No longer begging for a seat at the table. Simply refusing to leave the room. What do you think about Pope Leo's position? Let us know in the comment.